Are you a physician looking to take your own profitable medical expert witness practice to the next level? MedicalExpertWitness.com is the ultimate program to learn how to brand yourself as an expert witness and get yourself seen. Sure, building a reputation in the field from scratch has its challenges, but don't let them hold you back. MedicalExpertWitness.com understands what you are facing as they were once there too. In fact, 10 years ago, CEO Dr. Jordan Romano started his own consulting in the medical malpractice space. This experience has included providing expert witness testimony, reviewing medical records, and analyzing complex medical cases. Dr. Romano has become well-versed in the intricacies of medical malpractice law and has worked on cases for both plaintiffs and defendants in nearly every state in the U.S. And now, his company provides medical professionals with the tools and support they need to supercharge their career as a medical expert witness. Sounds great, doesn't it? Absolutely. Just imagine having the support you need to brand yourself as a medical witness expert too. Now that's powerful. So what are you waiting for? Visit medicalwitness.com today and gain access to a mentor who can connect you with attorneys in need for your specialized knowledge, expand your network, find new cases, and watch your business thrive. Welcome to the Virtual Reality Reconstructionist. Using 3D scanning and virtual reality technology and cold case investigations is our topic today. Before I started in law enforcement, the agency I worked for had a few cold cases. One that stood out was a mother who disappeared from her home. The investigation determined drag marks beside the house that led to a business parking lot. In this area, the investigation found a bloodstain that led to the hypothesis that the missing lady was placed in a car and driven away. I had been in the home within a few years of becoming a police officer. The house had been abandoned, and occasionally someone would break in or try to sleep inside of it. In learning of the incident, and later learning of 3D technology, it has made me wonder, what would change if this incident had a 3D scan? Picture this: unsolved criminal cases, like chilling homicides and puzzling abductions, often go cold due to the lack of solid evidence. Families are left in anguish and justice remains elusive. But what if there's a way to breathe new life into the forgotten case, or cases? Enters 3D scanning technology, a cutting-edge innovation that allows us to recreate crime scenes with unparalleled precision. Coupled with virtual reality, investigators can now step into the past and examine every detail as if they were right there when the crime occurred. But can this remarkable fusion of technology truly make a significant impact on cracking these impenetrable cases wide open? Let's talk about cold case investigations. Merriam-Webster states that unsolved criminal investigations, such as the homicide or abductions, become cold when they stop being actively pursued because of lack of evidence. In these instances, it's really unfortunate for the victims, their families, and everyone else involved, as they don't get the closure they deserve. Now here's the thing we need to think about. Why is there such a lack of evidence? Is it due to a lack of proper investigation, or even the unthinkable cover-up? The fact that these cases remain unsolved is simply unacceptable. But here's where it gets interesting. Can 3D scanning technology step in and make a significant impact in fixing this problem? Let's dive into that and explore how this cutting-edge technology might just be the game changer we need to crack cold cases wide open. In looking at the National Institute of Justice, NIJ site, we find that experience has shown that cold case programs can solve a substantial number of violent crime cold cases, including homicides and sexual assaults. Advances in DNA technology has substantially increased the success of DNA DNA analysts of aged, degraded, limited, or otherwise compromised biological evidence. As a result, crime scene samples once thought of as unsuitable for testing may now yield DNA profiles. Additionally, samples that previously generated inconclusive DNA results may now be successfully analyzed. To this end, the National Institute of Justice seeks to assist the law enforcement agency by developing their knowledge base, affording them opportunities to use forensic laboratories for the DNA analysis of cold case evidence, and aiding in the subsequent investigation to solve cold cases. This is an example of why evidence on scenes should be collected regardless of what can be tested or completed at the time of the incident. 3D scanning has the same potential outcome. DNA analysis is assisting cold cases, but other potential benefits are using 3D scanning and virtual reality technology. An example would be that even with the existing evidence, numerous times the site in which the cold case occurs may still be in the same condition as it was at the time of the incident. Using 3D technology to document and revisit the case based on the measurements and actual data has benefits. Scanning and obtaining an actual scale model of a scene can sometimes show certain statements from witnesses could not have happened in the manner they were stated. A 3D scale model of a scene can also assist in verifying witness perspectives. It is common for witnesses to fill in gaps of information with what they see on the scene of the incident. Meaning, in high-stress situations, a person may fill in gaps they believe they saw because they are there and it appears reasonable. Another element to consider regarding 3D scanning benefits is the potential of a 3D model developing questions that were not seen in the standard 2D format or pictures. As humans, we see in 3D. Therefore, we should be viewing events and evaluating them in a similar 3D format. 3D scanning and cold case investigations continued. 3D scanning is a technology that captures the geometry, shape, and texture of real-world objects or environments and creates a digital representation of them. It involves the use of specialized devices such as laser scanners or cameras to capture data points from the surface of the object or scene. These data points are then processed to generate a three-dimensional model, often referred to as a point cloud, which accurately represents the physical characteristics of the scanned object or environment. There are different methods of 3D scanning, including laser scanning and photogrammetry. Laser scanning utilizes laser beams to measure the distance to the object's surface, capturing numerous data points and forms a point cloud. Photogrammetry, on the other hand, involves capturing multiple photographs of the object or scene from the different angles and then using software to analyze the overlapping features and triangulate the 3D structure. Resulting 3D models from 3D scanning can be visualized, verified for accuracy, and analyzed on a computer. It provides a detailed representation of the scanned object or scene, including its shape, size, texture, and spatial relationship between different elements. This digital model can be used for various purposes, such as documentation, analysis, visualization, and even fabricating 3D printing. 3D scanning finds applications in numerous fields, including engineering, architecture, design, archaeology, art, healthcare, and notably crime scene reconstruction. In forensic investigations, 3D scanning plays a crucial role in accurately documenting and analyzing crime scenes, preserving evidence and aiding in the reconstruction of events for investigation and courtroom purposes. Overall, 3D scanning technology enables the creation of accurate, detailed, and immersive digital representations of real-world objects and environments, opening up new possibilities for analysis, visualization, and innovations across various industries. 3D scanning technology is a growing concept. The evolution will be an accepted standard of major crime scenes to have a 3D scan done of the scene in order to provide a complete investigation of the incident. Reconstruction of a crime scene and physical evidence using 3D models are on the added feature of 3D scanning. A 3D reconstruction based on the scene evidence will allow investigators, attorneys, experts, and witnesses to see details in scale as it was seen by the crime scene personnel that documented the incident initially. The 3D technology also opens doors such as creating models of evidence to further investigate and later to show in court for jurors to see in person. Enhancing collaboration among investigators and experts through shared 3D data will be another feature of 3D scanning that will emerge in the future. Investigators will be able to view a crime scene along with the expert to collaborate on the incident. This collaboration will allow these investigators and experts to do a complete investigation and share ideas, also a hypothesis, in regards to the evidence found on the scene. So now let's go into 3D scanner usage in cold cases. Criminal cases go stale and maybe go unsolved for some time. This is an unfortunate occurrence for the victim, their family, and others involved. These types of incidents create stress and controversy with all involved. The real question we need to ask is the reason for the lack of evidence. The idea of cases going unsolved is unacceptable. What we are exploring here is, can 3D scanning technology play a significant part in rectifying this problem? When you have a criminal case where due diligence has been applied, it is possible minimal evidence is produced or found. In these incidents, a scanner is not able to create evidence. What a 3D scanning crime scene can provide is a long-term revisit of the crime scene. Sometimes a fresh perspective on a case has produced additional information that requires resolve. When a crime scene can be produced in 3D, additional personnel can review and create new perspectives. The addition of experienced experts to a case may be able to move it forward. Criminal investigations can fall short by negligence or improper training. But another avenue 3D scanning can provide is the reproduction of a crime scene after the fact. On crimes where the location of the event still exists, a 3D scanner can be deployed. After scanning the scene, it can be supplemented with crime scene pictures from the original event. There are software packages that offer various options to annotate the 3D project, insert a video into the scene, tie them to specific locations in the project, and attach original crime scene pictures to the specific matching tie points in the geometry. This digital option can develop visuals of the scene to assist in answering concerns of conflicting information or evidence. The unnerving option that a cover-up is subject, similar applications as in the negligence options can be applied. A duplicate scanning of the crime scene can show evidence or even identify conflicting information. If the conspiracy is limited pictures, that's considered an attempt at investigation and thus is completed. The 3D scan may assist in showing the incident could not have occurred the way the witness reported the incident. A 3D scan may also show where evidence was found but was not documented. This assists investigators in showing how the evidence played a part in the incident. I was involved in a cold case where a scanner was deployed to an apartment in Mississippi where a young man named Christian Andiacchio was found deceased in his apartment bedroom. The scan was able to show the apartment layout and small size of the bathroom. The 3D project was showed the distance relations of the upstairs bathroom and the living area of the studio apartment. The scan project was able to reflect additional reason to believe Christian was moved. This is just one example where a 3D scanner, such as in Christian's case, has assisted in telling the truth of the incident. The 3D technology impact in law enforcement, past and present, is being seen daily. Scanners have been utilized in hundreds of court cases. This trend is showing an increase to the point where a 3D scanner is a daily piece of technology utilized in law enforcement crime scene documentation throughout the United States. So let's move into virtual reality and cold case investigations. In discussing cold cases and virtual reality, we're using the 3D data obtained from the scanners to create an immersive environment. By creating this environment, investigators and experts can review the scene in an effort to take another view of the location, give another investigator or expert a view of the incident, etc. This has the potential to provide feedback to further new hypotheses regarding what happened on the incident. Creating immersive virtual crime scene reconstruction has the best potential in the 3D data world to assist cold cases in moving forward and developing new evidence or suspects. Virtual walkthroughs for investigators and experts will continue to expand as an additional tool in criminal cases, civil cases, most anything that has a complex process to understand. Virtual walkthroughs allow the viewer to revisit the scene, interact with various items to determine the potential of witnesses and participant statements, and measure anything visible in the recreated format to assist in further studies. Simulating different scenarios and perspectives for analysis allows a thorough review of incidents to investigate and revive cases that need perspectives, ideas, and hypotheses for a resolution. Let's look into some advantages and challenges of what we've talked about today so far. Advantages of using 3D scanning and virtual reality technology in cold cases and investigations boil down to the visual aspect. The most commonly recognized human senses are typically considered to be sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. These senses play a fundamental role in how we perceive and interact with the world around us. While it is difficult to quantify the exact most used sense, as it may vary depending on the context of the individual's preferences, the significance of sight or vision is often emphasized due to its extensive role in gathering information and interpreting the environment. This information is obtained from an article from Tong in 2003. The title of it is Primary Visual Cortex and Visual Awareness, out of Nature's Review Neuroscience article. This article discussed the role of primary visual cortex in visual awareness, highlighting the crucial contribution of vision for our conscious perception. While this source doesn't explicitly claim that the vision is the most used sense, it provides valuable insight in the significance of vision and understanding our world around us. An advantage of VR in crime scene and crash scene applications is the ability to allow investigators and other parties a continued repeatable visual perspective of the crime scene. Challenges and limitations to consider in implementing these technologies. If we can look at the challenges today, the aspect I see most is for VR equipment itself. It is common to look for low pricing. Unfortunately, when doing so, you have the potential to reduce the ability of the equipment to refresh the scene at some rate in which the eyes are normally seen at. If it is refreshed at a lower rate, a sense of nausea can occur, which is the downside of this technology. But the other side of this coin is that the equipment is improving and the cost is coming down. It is easier today to get quality equipment at a very reasonable price. I would say a limitation to VR technology would include the feasibility of the system itself. Unless your agency has a high need for this technology, they will not have the personnel to keep up to date on how to get the 3D scans into a VR environment. As systems and software improve, the ability to do this will become commonplace. Until then, public safety will have to use the systems in place to conduct training, review cases, and advance their agencies into a world of VR technology. So let's look at a case study. To date, I'm not aware of any cold cases where 3D scanning and virtual reality were used. DNA has been in the forefront of the cold case industry in solving and exonerating cold case incidents or suspects. Outcomes and successes achieved through the use of these technologies is limited. There will be success stories in the future. A 2017 NIJ article, The Next Generation of Crime, Tools and Challenges, is titled 3D Printing, highlighted 3D printing is in which 3D scanner data can be used. This article states, although it is relatively new from the perspective of its appearance in criminal investigations, 3D printing technology or additive manufacturing is not new. It originated in the 1980s. Only in the past decade have 3D printers become smaller and affordable enough for the mass market. You get a really decent one right around $1,000, I think. Today, this technology is widely available and relatively simple to use in both lawful and illicit purposes. 3D printers can create a variety of high customizable objects at relatively low prices. The application is nearly endless. Examples of the commercial application of 3D printing include, but not limited to, manufacturing airplanes and automotive parts, footwear, medical and veterinary prosthetics, and so forth. 3D printing technology has also been used for the criminal justice purposes. Crime scene investigators and forensic examiners have used it in crash reconstruction, replication of crime scene evidence, and facial reconstruction from unidentified skeletal remains is also being utilized in today's forensics. Criminals are also taking advantage of the versatility of this technology. Among the most worrying of this illicit use is the creation of 3D printed guns and other weapons. The technology is available and relatively simple to use, and criminals will undoubtedly find more creative ways to use it. As a consequence, we expect to see 3D printers and their products submitted for a forensic analysis in criminal investigations if they have not already been. Forensic examination of 3D printers and their products is challenging. Because of the newness of this technology from an evidentiary perspective, there's a lack of both forensic research and validation test procedures. This limits the ability of forensic scientists to offer definitive conclusions regarding the technology or its products. So let's look at future developments and other potential applications. Advancements in 3D scanning and virtual reality technology are being seen daily. Everything from screen visibility to screen quality to wireless applications is surfacing. Numerous 3D scanning manufacturers continue to advance their products. An area most manufacturers could consider is the equipment calibration. Public safety forensics continues to rise in cost. The calibration of the equipment, 3D scanners specifically, is an area manufacturers can improve on to make scanner owners give them the ability to self-calibrate their equipment for accuracy. I believe this is an area to improve on in public safety specifically. Potential application beyond cold case investigations to consider is training. VR has a strong potential in improving the current offerings for public safety from fire to police and forensics. Firefighters will be able to train in realistic environments. These environments can range from active events to arson investigators post-event. Police can use 3D scanning and VR environments for scenario training as well as forensics training. Integrating with other forensic techniques and technology includes bullet trajectory and blood spatter studies. Both these advanced forensics arenas can use 3D scanner environments to study bullet trajectory paths and blood spatter origins. The resulting information help investigators, prosecutors, and jurors understand a crime scene through the additional sensory perception. In wrapping up today, let's just have a recap of the benefits and challenges of using 3D scanning and virtual reality in cold case investigations. There is accessibility to the site where the incident happened. This gives investigators an additional median to look at the site and compare the incident statements for clarity. This can provide additional evidence or promote ideas to find additional information on the case to reopen and continue the incident investigation itself. A second topic was using the 3D scan data to create a virtual reality environment for the investigation. Again, this allows for an additional and extended view of the scene to prompt ideas and see perspectives that may have been missed in the first approach of the investigation. The potential impact on future investigations and the justice system can be seen in these topics. If we look at the current environment, 3D scanning is making its way into public safety for incident investigation to document the scene. The starting process will open the door for future forensic investigation in cases that have seemed to go cold, and with this type of evidence gathered, it will open the door to get other experts involved with their knowledge and experience to advance the investigation. Just as collected DNA was collected and numerous cases were not investigated thoroughly until after DNA was understood completely. As we will see as the technology develops and is used commonly in forensics, just the visual aspect to revisit the scene by investigators will show to be a tremendous asset. Another impact on the 3D scanning data is the virtual reality application. Virtual reality will open the door for investigations, recreating incidents, and testing incident hypotheses based on the scene evidence. The ability to immerse an investigator, expert, or witness into a virtual scene will show to provide influence into the forensic investigation. That's all we have for today's episode of the Virtuality Reconstructionist. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you have feedback, suggestions, or questions for us, you can reach out to me personally at ryan.ryder@rrinvestigations.com. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or options of the Virtuality Reconstructionist, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Thanks for tuning in. Most of all, stay safe and stay curious.